So let me stress again that I think we've probably got a few more weeks yet before the metals really start a strong momentum phase. And I'm going to point out a couple things here. First off, clearly gold is in the advancing phase of a new intermediate cycle. RSI is starting to embed in the overbought condition. So the strategies that work during the declining phase, you want to sell quickly when price gets overbought in the declining phase of an intermediate cycle. But in the advancing phase of an intermediate cycle, you don't necessarily, very often it's too early to sell once price gets overbought because momentum can embed in the overbought condition. So gold is in the advancing phase of an intermediate cycle. I tend to think this was a half cycle low, and I think this cycle is going to stretch pretty long. One reason is that this cycle here, this double bottom, was very short. So usually a long cycle will follow a short cycle. I think I noted this in one of my previous videos. The cartel tried very hard to block gold from getting above 1800. That's a major resistance and support zone. That failed. They are almost certainly going to try again here at this. It's a double resistance. You got the 200-day moving average, and then you got this downtrend line that has kind of been containing the handle, part of that large cup and handle pattern that I've been talking about. The cartel is almost certainly going to attack gold when it tests this double resistance zone. That's where we could get our daily cycle top right there. The one mitigating factor that might allow gold to slice through this, which would be devastating for the cartel, by the way. They're probably going to pile on a bunch of shorts here to keep gold suppressed below this resistance. And if gold were to slice right through that trend line and that 200-day moving average, it would catch them with a bunch of shorts, and it would create a huge short squeeze. So here's what I'm looking at that could possibly push that through. The euro is coming out of an intermediate cycle low. So this is a first daily cycle. And I think this qualifies as a half cycle low as opposed to a full daily cycle low. And I've noted this in my premium reports for subscribers. In a bull market, it's not unusual for the first daily cycle to recover all of the losses from the previous intermediate cycle low. So here's our intermediate cycle low in the euro. We're in the advancing phase of a new intermediate cycle. It's not unusual to come up and retest the previous intermediate high. So if the euro were to do that before this daily cycle tops, that could push gold right through that resistance zone. All right, back to gold. So right now we've got some normal profit taking, and this is something else I've discussed in my premium newsletters. When an asset gets close to a major resistance zone, especially if somebody, traders that may have bought down here at the bottom and they've been holding for this entire move up, and they see this major resistance zone here, we're within like a percent of that right now, and the expectation is that resistance is going to turn price back down, at least on the first attempt. So traders that have been long for a good chunk of this rally may decide that it's just not worth trying to catch that last 1% if it were to come up a little short. So they take profits a little bit early, and so you get these little profit taking events just slightly before you actually reach the resistance zone. Sometimes that can even put in a temporary top if the profit taking is strong enough. In this particular instance, I don't think this is going to mark a daily cycle top. I think gold will eventually rally up and test this resistance, and then we'll just have to see what happens. The cartel will almost certainly use this this double resistance zone to unleash another attack and try and turn gold back down. If the dollar and the dollar will continue to collapse because it's in an intermediate decline. So, but if the euro drops into a daily cycle low before it tests that previous intermediate high, then that would give the cartel a little help here, and they might turn to gold back down into a daily cycle low, a little deeper correction than this one, something that would presumably push the 5-day RSI at least back down to oversold. So that's a risk right in here. We're getting mature in this daily cycle. We're approaching this double resistance zone. The cartel is going to attack gold at that resistance zone for absolute certainty that they're going to attack this and try and push it back down. And it all just kind of boils down on to whether or not the euro continues to rally and rallies enough to test those previous intermediate highs as to whether or not gold can fight off the cartel attacks and slice through this resistance zone. If it does, then I think we could get a very strong move, maybe even one to come up here and test this next resistance at 1960-ish, as the cartel would be caught in a short squeeze. Obviously, if they're going to try and turn this back down, they're going to pile a bunch of shorts onto the gold market, and then if they get caught in those shorts and have to cover, it would produce a really big, strong move. That's not really my expectation at the moment, but at some point though, gold is going to break through this trend line and continue to move. It's just my opinion at this point is the cartel's probably going to succeed in turning gold back down right here, probably back down into a daily cycle low, and then it'll be the next daily cycle where we start to really get some strong momentum in the metals market.